Terror Tales. The Footsteps in the Dark. I always considered myself a rational person. I believed in science and facts, and never gave much thought to the stories that people told about hauntings and ghosts. That is, until I moved into my new apartment. It was a simple one-bedroom on the outskirts of town. Nothing special. But from the moment I moved in, things felt off. It started small. A creak in the floorboard here, a flicker of light there. But then I heard it. Footsteps. Not just any footsteps. Heavy thudding steps that sounded like they were coming from above me. But the apartment above me was empty, and had been for months. As I lay in bed, I could hear them pace back and forth, for hours on end. At first, I told myself it was just my imagination. Maybe the building was settling. Maybe my neighbor was just a night owl. But then I heard the scratches. It started as a soft noise, barely audible above the sound of the footsteps. But then it grew louder, screeching and scratching against the wooden floor. It sounded like someone was dragging a rake over it. It was a sound that made my skin crawl. I tried to ignore it. I really did. I told myself it was just the building's old pipes or something equally mundane. But as the nights went on, the sounds only grew louder. And then one night, they came closer. I was lying in bed, the covers pulled up to my chin, when the footsteps stopped. At first, I thought I had imagined it. But then I felt the weight on my bed, the creak of the mattress under someone's weight. And then the scratching began. It was right next to my ear, the sound of nails scraping against wood. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or even scream. I felt like something was watching me, and I knew deep down that it wasn't human. The scratching continued for what felt like hours, until finally, it stopped. I lay there, shaking and sweating, until the sun began to rise. I called in sick to work that day, unable to even get out of bed. From that day on, the footsteps and scratching continued, every night without fail. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was causing the noises. So one night, I sat in the darkness and waited. And then, there it was, a shadow moving across my ceiling. I jumped up and flicked on the light, only to find nothing there. But I knew what I had seen. It was a shadow, black as pitch and inhumanly large. It had appeared for only a moment, but it was enough to convince me that I wasn't crazy. I moved out of that apartment, terrified of what might happen if I stayed. But even now, years later, I can still hear the footsteps and scratches in my dreams. And in the darkest corners of my mind, I know that something was there with me that night.